Hello, Patty here. I was inspired by Karen and Stacy to give you a little video tour of my studio. It's in my basement, my door. As you walk in, sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy, I've never done a video before. I have way too many magazines. Luckily the magazines are now going digital. I'm kind of sorry for that, kind of like the Kindle. You don't buy books anymore, it's all digital. This cabinet right here was a dresser that I had in my first apartment in the 80s. I use it for my completed jewelry. I put a little label on each drawer. I actually keep my jewelry in a little baggie along with a copy of the listing. And when the listing sells, I attach this to the sale. And overkill and paperwork, that would be me. This cabinet I built for my first apartment in 1980, 81. Was in my kitchen at one point holding all my cookbooks, and now it holds excess chemicals, butane, liver sulfur, blah blah blah. My white noise, I must have noise. If the radio's not on, I gotta have the TV on. This cabinet, this white cabinet that is screaming for paint, was built by my father and my grandfather 60 years ago, and my mother used to use it as a closet for us kids when we lived in Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I have my enameling in here. This is pots and stuff that I use for etching when I etch. It's got 3 drawers, so it holds lots of dirty stuff. I am the queen of handmade aprons. Thank you, Mommy. I wear every single one. Yeah, extra steel wool, blah, blah. And yes, I have some very good name saws. And I use my $8 saw every time. Sorry, it's the best saw. Best thing in my entire studio, probably in my entire house, I'm exaggerating, but is my sink. Nice and deep and getting nice and nasty from 2.5 years of using it. I did not have a sink in my last place, and I worked in an unfinished basement, and it's constant up and down the steps. So I'm very blessed to have the sink. When we designed the house and I knew I was going to have a studio in the basement, the #1 priority was a sink. I have very little artwork, but I do have artwork. Studio Water Stone. Isn't that gorgeous? That's a lino print. And then 3 Art on Metal by E.B. Metalworks. These are pictures that she took in a cemetery. Statues, monuments, headstones, what have you, and they're metal. And they float on the wall. And I love them. I could fill my whole wall with them. I'm into black and white. Next to my sink is my dirty area. This is where I put my patinas, Black Max, liver sulfur, my pickle pot, blah, blah, blah. That's all done right here. These are my photo props, extra bowls and stuff for liver sulfur. Over here is where I take my pictures. Unfortunately, 95% of my pictures are done inside because I have sun everywhere. I only have about an hour a day where I don't have direct sunlight in my face. So I'm never quite ready to go outside to take the pictures at that time. You know how that goes. Moving around. Again, I'm so sorry if I'm making you dizzy. This cabinet, I must find a use for. This was my mother's sewing cabinet that my father gifted to her about 55 years ago. It's one of those where the sewing machine actually attaches. You can't use it for that anymore. They don't make them like that anymore. But my sister refinished it and she did such a pretty job. It's actually solid oak. They don't make solid anymore. I have nothing in it because I don't know what to put in it, but I will find the right things to put in there. I will. This is a little area that's perfect for when I need to watch TV, that either creating jewelry, but I usually use it for when I was doing PMC, and I will get back to PMC. I swear to God I will. I wanted to show you this. I saw this hint. I want to say it was on a Facebook group, Aspiring Metalsmith, something, but I don't remember when or where. But this is how this lovely lady kept her cabochons in a little binder with these little plastic baseball card inserts. And so I just double stick tape the cabochon to a little piece of stock. And on the back, I say where I get it from, how much it costs, etc., etc. And now they're clean, not broken, and in a drawer, which was awesome. I'm so glad she shared that tip. So whoever you are, I thank you. one of my vices. My soldering station. These little jars. I received a gift of croissants for Christmas with 12 of the best jelly you will ever have in your life. I consumed them all by myself. And I kept the jars because I keep just a tiny amount of flux, yellow ochre, liquid flux, in these because this stuff tends to dry out. And if you use the big jar, which is what I tend to do, and this is my favorite paste flux, by the way, every time you open it, you're subjecting it to air and it dries out, and it's such a waste. I hate waste. So I love those little jars. Not one, but 2 fire extinguishers. Always on the ready. Never had a fire yet, knock wood. Soldering supplies. This was a cabinet that I had to have it, and it's useless. These pegs, you can't find peg holders to fit. So it's been relegated to here instead of the garage. I had it in my old house. I probably had it 15 years. It's nice and sturdy though, and it is on wheels. This is where I keep my stamps, the handmade stamps. This is how I store my copper. It's in a little, business rack that you use on your desk at work. Not the best. It would be better if it was on top of a table where I didn't have to get down, but again, I'm not that organized. All my PMC stuff that I swear I've got to get back into. All my Flex Shop bits and bobs, etc. And this is my jeweler's bench that I bought when I moved in here. I wanted a bigger bench, but I didn't want to have to put it together. I do put things together. Was tired and it was too heavy, and I settled for a small bench. If you can get a big bench, people. Trust me on that. This, however, I did get as an attachment. Best thing ever. It's a swing arm, and it holds all my tools and my hammers. I mean, it is amazing. I love it. I have 2 chairs. One for when I'm actually designing jewelry. This one goes up and down. And then I do have a GRS. I have a very bad neck and a very bad back, so depending on how I'm feeling that day, I can lower it. And then I just use an old card table chair, pull it right up to my bench, and I'm happy as a pig rolling in the mud. My babies, they're over the Rainbow Bridge now, Sam and Abby. My current baby, Sarge. This is truly my favorite board. It's every animal on here means something very, very special to me. I have a couple of kids there too, my little great nephew and great niece, because they're just cute, This bench I got recently at Harbor Freight with a coupon. I don't think I paid $100 for it. It might have been $80. Delivered, free delivery. I mean, come on. Awesome. All my punches and daps and all of that kind of stuff I keep down here. And in this drawer I keep all my mandrels. Not as used tools, but accessible. And I took a class at Artless 4 or 5 years ago. I honestly couldn't tell you, with Richard Sally and Jessica Jordan, Rosie Revolver. And one of the things they were selling was this miter jig. The best $50 ever spent. If you ever need to flush up an end of wire, which I always do. Love it. Extra tools. I am a tool whore. I do wear a respirator when I solder and sand. I have 10-foot ceilings here, and I have a heavy-duty exhaust in this place. But safety first, Always. Toaster oven, kiln. These are my beads. Mostly silver, gemstone, lamp work. The ones I refer to often when I need a bead. Yeah, I know I have a lot of copper. I've been delving into metalwork more, but I still use my copper. This is how I store my silver wire, in a little file folder separated by gauge with a little tab on it. In the plastic wrap, it tends to keep it from not tarnishing as easily. These 2 shelves I received from my old company, where I worked for a little over 20 years. I was a proposal writer, and proposals were put in binders, and we stored our binders back in the day in the attic. Now they're done electronically. So we had these custom made by my boss's brother. I got 2 of them, and I got 1 more coming this fall because they're downsizing. They don't use books anymore. Progress. My rolling mill, which I'm finally getting better at. Not real fast, but better. This is where I package up my sales, etc. And this is all my packing supplies, boxes, cards, blah, blah, envelopes, the boring stuff. Not used as much beads, but still used, are kept here. And I don't throw anything away. Everything over here is empty, waiting for another use. I don't throw anything away. I probably should, but I don't. I'm turning you here. There's the door. This is the business end of the studio. It's a very, very old cabinet. I keep all my sales tax receipts, supply receipts, sale receipts, and I am an anal person when it comes to paperwork. When I buy something, I immediately update it on a spreadsheet, file it. So when it's time for quarterly and annual, it's done quickly because that was what my previous job was also. So it's kind of ingrained in the brain. My little PC and my printer. And I'm going to take you one more time. It is a very large space. I know. I'm very, very blessed. It's also a waste of space in that I've designed this or moved things around. Design is the wrong word. 3 times now to find the best configurement of space. And while this works for me, I have all this empty space. And I should be happy for it, but things seem to be befuddled. So one of these days, when the mood strikes, I will reorganize yet again. But this is my world. I thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a great one.